24th of November, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua, Toldos.
Okay. Let's go. We were up to Pasuk 28, Pasuk Chavches.
Ve'yehav Yitzchak es Esav ki ta'id befiv v'rivka oheves es Yaakov. Isaac loved Esav, for trapping was in his mouth, but Rivka loved Yaakov. Rashi says, Fiv, in his mouth, Ki Sa'id, trapping.
Yes. Question is, whose mouth? Okay.
Kesargumo, as it is translated by Onkelos, Befiv shel Yitzchak, in the mouth of Isaac.
What does that mean? Let's see the Targum. Urachem Yitzchak Yos Esav Arei Mitzeidei Havei Ochil. Yitzchak loved Esav because he would eat from what he hunted.
Right.
Okay, that's Kitzayed Befiv, means he would eat from what he hunted. So the tzayid of Esav was in the mouth of Yitzchak. And it was tasty food, tasty meat.
Seems like an odd reason to love somebody.
So it's interesting. It's in one of the major discussions among the Mefarshim. Did Yitzchak know what Esav was really about or not?
How from Yitzchak's perspective, he knew a certain aspect of Esav, because didn't Esav bring him the food to eat?
Right. So obviously he knew he was a hunter, and that means he wasn't the biggest masmid.
Right.
Right.
But yet it seemed that Yitzchak enjoyed what he was given.
So l'chora, it's interesting that it's connected to this, but not necessarily follow on necessarily one from the other. The Orach Chaim HaKodesh says that why, as Rashi seems to learn that the reason why Yitzchak wanted to give Yitzchak wanted to give Esav the blessings, because he thought he was a better person than he really was. Okay? The Orach Chaim HaKodesh says, no, he fully realized what Esav was, but he had hoped by giving him the blessings, that would change his ways. That would be a catalyst to change, that Esav would be able to change his ways for the better. You see, my father gave me a bracha and things changed. Wow. Means my father's a holy man. maybe I should start listening to him.
Uh-huh.
Okay? But L'chayra over here, you can similarly say a similar idea over here, that Yitzchak realized that Esav was not your biggest tzaddik, and he wasn't the biggest learner. So he says, well, you know what? He's very fond of me, and he'll do anything I say. At least let me give him as many opportunities that I can for him to fulfill the mitzvah of kibbud av va'em. And this way, this will at least draw Esav to at least doing good things.
Right.
That would, I would think that would be possible if Esav was a little bit off the derech. But we learned that Esav was a murderer and a rapist. And to say, well, maybe, he'll come around.
By the way, I just read yesterday that Rabbi Victor Miller says something very interesting on this point, that, the sins of Esav, what they were. He says, who is it he said he killed? He was a murderer. Who did he kill on that day?
Nimrod.
Right. So that should have made him a national hero. We finally got rid of, don't call him Bin Laden, we call him Nimrod, right? Nimrod the villain.
And,
right?
And the rape?
And the rape, Lemaisa Chazal say, he bought al Nara Hamoirasa. What is Namoirasa? A woman who is betrothed. It's not the Miller's Kasha. Tosis asked the Kasha, what do you mean? We're talking about a long time before Matan Torah. There was no such concept as a betrothed young woman. There was not such a concept of betrothal. Betrothal meaning in the sense that it had halachic validity to say that she was considered married to this man, and therefore anybody who has relations with her is having relations with a married woman. There was no such thing.
So you're saying that the rape was consensual? That the only reason it was rape was because she was not she was engaged?
That's what Chazal says. She bought Nama Rasa. That's what Tosis asked that kasha. What's mean bought Nama Rasa? She said she bought Ish. Right? He had relations with a married woman. Married woman, that for sure, yeah. That's a terrible thing, he's taking away somebody else's wife. But here, in fact, Tosis says that what the concept of Nama Rasa was, that she'd already been should we say designated for somebody else, but the Maisa there was no marriage contract yet. There was no halachic validity to this betrothal, meaning that she's considered married to this man to whom she was betrothed. So therefore, the Maisa, technically, right, he didn't do anything wrong. But, says Rabbi Victor Miller, he had very bad intentions. When he killed Nimrod, he did it for jealousy. He wanted his clothes. He wanted, for whatever the motives were wrong. But when he wanted to marry this woman, he dafka wanted her because she was already betrothed to somebody else. He dafka wanted to chop him away from that Yana person. That was his. Esav had very bad motives, and that was what was wrong with it. But so I'm saying it's not necessarily that he's in a pretty bad state. He's Zara, he's Kofer about Kodesh Baruch Hu, all these things. But nevertheless, don't forget, he's 13. He's a angry, rebellious teenager. Okay? And so therefore, Yitzchak is trying his best to win over this angry, rebellious teenager. Okay. And needless to say is also the major question, which I'm not going to go into, is that how did Esav end up being such a bad guy after his father was such a tzaddik? It's like the worst came out from the best. How did that happen? Okay. Anyway, so that's so. First chat is Bepiv Shel Yitzchak. Yeah. Umidrashay, carry on there, Lou. Didn't finish the Rashi here.
Umid Rasha show, and its explanation,
or the midrashic explanation is right, meaning it's the not the straightforward pshuto shamikra, but it's more homiletical explanation. Piv
Befiv Shel Esav, with the mouth of Esav, Shehayat Tzad Oso, that he would trap him, Ramehu,
Meramehu, correct, you did it correct.
Ramehu Bidevarav, and he would deceive him with his words.
Right. This is similar to what Ish Tzayid, Yodea Tzayid. See, it's interesting there, Rashi doesn't have the two pshatim. Yeah, so the Mefarshim dwell on that over there. And we had this previously in Pasuk 27, right? Previous Pasuk, it says, Vahi Esav Ish Yodea Tzayid. So the Mefarshim says, it doesn't say Ish Tzayid. If you've been a hunter, I mean, that's what the meaning of the Pasuk was. It wouldn't mean to say Yodea Tzayid. Ish Tzayid, he's a hunter, that's his occupation. Okay, let's see weiter. Pasuk Chof Tes. Meah.
Okay, Kaf Tes. Vayazed Yaakov Nazid V'yavo Esav Min Hasadeh V'hu Ayef. Okay, so let's see. Yaakov, not sure. Yazed.
Which means he was making a nozid. And what's a nozid? A stew.
Oh, a stew. Okay, so he's making a stew. And Esav came in from the field, and he was tired.
Right. So actually, we'll see in Rashi, it's more than just tired. He was, as you say, he was exhausted.
Exhausted. Oh, okay. Okay, well, let's go to Rashi then. Okay, so Vayazed, he's making the stew. Let's see, it says Lashon Bishul, it means cooking, and Bitargamo, Kitargamo, as the Targum
Right.
translates it.
Right.
Okay.
Which is
Bishul is cooking, yeah.
Moshe Yaakov Tavshila. Yeah. By the way, you find generally nozik is something where someone cooks for a long time.
Oh.
Okay. That's why they translate it as a stew.
So is that like cooking a cholent then?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It was lentils.
Oh, lentils. Okay. So you have to let it cook for a long time.
Right.
To become edible.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. V'hu ayef. He was tired. The riticha Oh, for murdering. Huh. Kema detema. How to say? Ki ayefa nafshi lehorgim. So my soul is tired. Horeg.
Through murderers.
Oh, for through murders. Okay.
I'm not sure exactly how it fits into the context of the Parsha. But because there it sounds that not the actual murderer was exhausted, but that Yumio was exhausted through them. I'm not sure.
Mm.
There. But upon him, yeah. Okay. Okay, let's go on to Pasuk Lamed.
Vayomer Esav El Yaakov Hal I Tani Noah Min Ha'adom Hazeh Ki Ayef Anochi Al Cain Kara Shemo Edom. Okay, so Esav said to Yaakov, pour, please, from the red.
Red bread.
This red.
Oh, this red, yeah.
Because I am exhausted. Therefore, his name was called Red.
Right.
Rashi says, how...
Okay, now, first of all, the first interesting thing is, we mentioned before, by Yetzei Horishon Ad Moini, he had a very red, ruddy complexion. Esav looked red, and he had all this red hair. Okay? Yeah, but that's not why he was called Edom. He wasn't called Edom. This is one time when he's 15 years old, as Rashi's going to explain. Okay? When he's 15 years old, he asks for, give me some of the red stuff. Okay? Then he gets the name Edom. So we'll have to understand this. Okay, let's see the Rashi first. Okay? Now, first Rashi is going to bring on the word haliteni no.
Pour
word haliteni
into me, eftach pi. I will open my mouth, ushfoch harbe lisocha, and pour a lot into it.
this, guy says he comes in and he says, oh, I'm exhausted. Falls back on the armchair like this, right? He falls back. He says, I'm just gonna have no cup whatsoever. I can just open my mouth, just pour it down. That's basically what
Shaninu, like we learned in the Mishnah.
This expression.
Ovrim.
No, ein ovsim es hagomo.
Ein ovsim es hagamal. We may not stuff a camel.
Right.
Aval mal itin oso. But we may pour food into its mouth.
Right.
Min ha'adam.
So, it's basically the two things. Ovsin means to actually stuff the food inside, stuff the animal down the animal's gullet. So that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. But Malitino, so you're allowed to pour it into its mouth. But the point is, it's not like regular eating, where you put in a small amount, and then he eats it and then take another bite, another sip or whatever. Here, he says, Rashi says, Harbe, just pour it down my throat, and I can have as much as I guess the idea seems to imply that he wanted more than a regular amount of a person would eat at one time. And also, let's leave aside the fact that it's hot, this stew. Vayozid Yaakov knows it, he was cooking it up. So just imagine, he said, take from the pot and pour it straight down my mouth, straight down my throat. Which seems, granted that Asa was exhausted, but it still seems very strange. And we'll see something more strange about it in the next Rashi. Min ha'adam ha'adam.
Min ha'adam, from that red.
Yeah, which means really red, deep red. From the deep red stuff.
Adasim adumos, red lentils.
Yeah.
V'oso hayom, on that day.
By the way, the Mefarshim point out that I don't know when the last time your wife served you red lentils, but with cooking, they turn pale.
Right. Yeah.
I find they come out brown.
Right, but when they're raw, they have a much redder color, and after the cooking process, the red color pales.
I see.
So we're pointing out over here that this really red stuff, okay, wasn't fully cooked.
Ah, I see.
Okay, yeah. Now he's taking this
Abraham died
on that day.
Year so that he should not see Esav ben Bano, Esav, the son of his son, Yotze Lisar Bus Ra, that he would go out for evil. What is Sarbus?
Tarbus means education, which means ways. In this sense, he would fall on bad ways. Because he shouldn't see Esau falling on bad ways.
Ve'ein zo
Seva is sin.
Seva tova. It would not be this would not be a good old age. Shehiv ticho hakadosh baruch hu, that Hashem promised him. Lefichach, therefore, kitzer hakadosh baruch hu chames shenayim.
Chamesh shonim.
Chamesh shanim mish no sav. The Holy One, blessed be He, cut his years short by 5. Sheyitzchak chai mea ushmonim shana. That Yitzchak lived 100 and shmonim, 50 years. No, 80 years.
Right.
180 years. V'zeh mea v'shiv'im v'chamesh shana. And this one, i.e.
Avraham Avinu,
175 years.
So he lived 5 years less than Yitzchak.
Uvishel Yaakov adashim. And Yaakov cooked lentils. Lehavros es ha'avel. To provide food for the mourner.
Right. Means to revive. Lahavrois really means to revive the mourner. The first meal which the mourners have after the funeral is called the Sudas Havra. It's the meal of revival, kind of to give them a bit of the deep mourning, deep sorrow after the loss of their relative. So we give them a meal to revive them somewhat. Okay?
Vilama adashim. And why lentils? She domos the galgal.
Galgal. Right.
The galgal. Because they resemble a wheel. She ha'avelos galgal ha'chozer ba'olam. That mourning is a wheel returning to the world.
Yeah, well, it's Galgal HaChozer Ba'olam, which means it's a cycle. Avelus is a part of the life cycle. Okay? Yeah, we used to say a joke as kids, 100% of people who drink milk die. Right? But it's not necessarily the cause. But the point is,
Right.
everybody dies. Okay? So therefore, that's part of the life cycle. Part of the thing of saying, that's what it means. Galgal HaChozer Ba'olam means mourning is something which is part of life, something which is the part of the wheel of life. Okay?
V'od, and furthermore, ma'adashim ein lahem peh. Just as lentils do not have a mouth, i.e. an opening,
Right.
kach ha'avel ein lo peh. So the mourner has no mouth. She'asur l'daber, that it's forbidden for him to speak. L'fichach, therefore, umin chag hamin chag lehavros el ha'avel.
Es Havel, yeah.
The custom to provide food for a mourner bisechilas ma'achalo
means the first food that he eats after the funeral, right? When he comes back from the funeral and starts sitting Shiva, then the first meal you give him is beitzi,
eggs.
shehem
Haim agulim, that they are round. Ve'ein lahem peh, and they don't have a mouth. Kach, likewise, avel ein lo peh, a mourner does not have a mouth. Ki de amrinan be moed katan, as it is stated in Moed Katan. Avel, a mourner, kol shelosha yamim ha rishonim, for the first 30 days.
No, 3 days.
Sure, 3 days. Eno may shiv shalom. He may not answer shalom, peace. L'chol,
Meaning to may not greet, respond to somebody else's greeting.
right, l'chol adam,
Kol shekain,
any man.
no, the kol shekain.
L'chol,
So to no man, right?
l'chol
Yeah.
shechein is next. Before
I'm sorry.
l'chol shechein, it says l'chol adam.
But I'm sorry, right.
L'chol
In other
shechein,
words, he doesn't answer greeting to any person, which meaning normally we say that if somebody greets you, you have to answer, even if you may be in the middle of davening. Okay? But an
I'm sorry, what did
ovel,
you say? You answer when you're davening?
so the actual Pila Shulchan Aruch, the Ikar Din, somebody comes over to you and greets you, you can answer at certain places, depending who he is, what the status is of the person. If it's somebody who's person's Rebbe or father or something, to a person who is required to give proper reverence to. So if he greets you even in the middle of Krishma, you have to answer. You have to answer him. However, first of all, nowadays we're not so much with people, since people are not much because they realize people in the middle of davening, and it's not the derech to greet people during the middle of davening. So therefore, the Mr. Brewer writes that one doesn't have to answer. But in times where there was the minhag was that people did greet each other, then you have to if it's to a person whom you're required to give reverence to, either father or Rebbe or something like that, then you have to answer even in the middle of Kriyashma, but not in the middle of the first pasuk. So if he's in the middle of actually saying Shema Yisrael or Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Elohim Voed, then he doesn't respond. But otherwise,
there's a problem with that, Rabbi. Once you have noticed who the person is, you've already broken your kavana. If I'm sitting there like this, and I'm davening, I don't see the person. Person comes up.
That's true.
He sticks his hand in my face, and he says, "Shalom Aleichem." I don't know who he is. Now, if I break my kavana to look up and see who he is, I might as well say hello to him because I've already broken my kavana.
Okay, it's not so simple because there's levels of breaking kavana in that respect, and there's different levels of distraction. If you just see him and you recognize who it is, then there's quite a bit of difference than actually go and having to answer him. So that's completely much more major interruption. Okay, I'm not. As I said before, the Mishabur writes that these halachas have less pertinence nowadays because normally people don't greet other people during davening. But anyway, but the point is, an ovel, and this is an important thing to know, to bear in mind if a person goes to a shiva visit, that if he goes, one should technically, unless one's a very close family, one should avoid going to the shiva visit for the first 3 days. Which means you count the day of the funeral as the first day, and then the next 2 days. Okay, and then even afterwards, Mishloisha Vad Shiva, from the third, right, between the third day and the seventh day, Meishiv Ve'enu Shoel. Okay, he can respond if one of the visitors greets him. And we're talking about particular over here greeting him with Shalom. He says Shalom Aleichem. So then you can answer Aleichem Shalom, but he's not allowed to introduce a greeting to anybody who comes to visit.
My English,
by the way,
require.
Yeah.
Is that mean introduce a greeting, or does it mean say how are you?
How are you? The chayr is okay. Hi, hello. Those are not really proper greetings. It should be avoided, by the way, because by the way, it's still maybe I'll take this opportunity of mentioning it. People often feel that if they go to a shiva visit, they've got to say something, and they've got to make a conversation with the mourner or something like that. One should not introduce conversation to the mourner, even after the third day, even until the end of the Shiva. And but if the mourner speaks to you, obviously you're allowed to respond, and the idea behind that is that not always do the mourners are they in the mood to speak, and also maybe they're not in the mood to speak to you. I'm talking about not you but me, right? Somebody who's visiting, right? Especially a place where there've been I don't know, 50, hundreds of people coming during the day, and then your number coming at 10:30 at night, and he's about number 500 who's been that day. First, they don't have koach anymore. But even if not, I'm saying the mourner is not always in the mood to speak. So therefore, it's not necessarily the main point. And I remember many years ago, but when my father Zechariah Bacha passed away, we were sitting Shiva. The mere fact that somebody came in to visit, even without him saying anything, that in itself was the fact that he showed his solidarity with us. He showed his empathy with us, right? That's the most important thing, that you just somebody else makes the effort to come to visit you. That is the tremendous comfort for the mourners.
Mm.
Okay. Anyway, we should never need to experience that.
Amen.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Fine. Okay, guys, have a very good Shabbos.
Have a good
Thank you,
Shabbos,
Rabbi.
Rabbi.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Kol tov.
Bye now.